My name is Harker Roslin, and I'm with the Customer Evangelist team here at Litify. This is our first in a series webinar on some content and features that we've developed for you. I wanted to take a few minutes and sort of talk about why we developed this program, what it is, and the importance of the content that we're going to be presenting today. So first of all, who are we? Customer Evangelists have really one goal at Litify, and that is to drive more value into your org. You guys invest heavily in our platform, and we want you to get the most out of the platform that you can. So our vision is proactively bringing you best practices that we collect from our entire customer base, so that you guys are constantly uncovering new areas of optimization for your firm. So a natural question might be, why did we decide to start with intakes? And the reason for that is that intakes are the gateway of all of your cases. A motto that we have at Litify is we want you guys signing every single qualified case that walks in your door. In order to make that happen, we need to make all of the potential drop-off points for a given intake record. We need to expose and measure those so that we can optimize your business process and your data. The dashboard that we're going to be reviewing today is designed to highlight any gaps that will help you identify those drop-off points and address them. We're going to be developing future guides that are going to talk through how to fix and address these issues. So I'll drop some hints and clues during the course of our webinar today, but please expect that there will be follow-up. So questions that come up when we start talking about intakes and drop-off points are things like, why are my intakes not converting? Are my leads bad? Are we not calling them enough? Are we not following up on retainers? The dashboard that we're about to review is going to show you and allow you to see where that happens. The benefits here are this dashboard installs with one click and is ready to go. It's also available on mobile, and you can schedule it. So here we go. The first thing I want to draw your attention to is that on installation, this dashboard is filterable both by case type and by source. We do have some stock options in each of these pick lists. You can see here we have automobile accident, personal injury, workers' comp, and social security. These fields and these filters can be customized to your specific firm. So if you specialize in different case types, or if you want to bucket certain case types together, maybe you want to do all of labor, so your discrimination, your workers' comp, all of your labor law and employment law in one bucket. Your customer evangelist can help you bucket and reconfigure these filters that are dashboard wide, so that you are really surfacing the data that's important for your firm. To give you a general idea of what that looks like, let's click on automobile accident, and you can see that the dashboard will change dynamically. It does take a minute, so we didn't do a lot in automobile accidents last week in this org, and we did none yesterday, but if we filter it back to all, we can see all of our case types. It's the same over here with sources. You might want to bucket all of your web sources together. Maybe you want to look at Google and Facebook together as an aggregate web source. You can also filter these dynamically. So, all right. So again, just like case type, this source list and how bucketable the fields are is something that we'll be releasing further content on. Your customer evangelist can help you with those things. So the goal here is getting more intakes into your org through the visibility into your data. So if we talk about conversion rates and drop-off points, where are the places that you might be bleeding cases? We want to get you to a place where you can say, how can I get more signed cases, and be able to identify key places in your data where there's a potential for optimization. So I think that the best dashboards tell a story, and the story here is going to start with yesterday. The reason we start with yesterday is it's the last full business day that your firm did. And so it's going to show whatever your hours of operation are, exactly how many intakes you could expect on a given day. In this org, we have 30. We do have the opportunity to drill down into these intakes and see them at a more detailed level, but on the dashboard level, we just see that total. As we progress to the right, you can see intakes created yesterday now broken down by their status. You can see a pretty even spread, although that's a high ratio of turndowns. We might have questions about that. Next up, we can see our funnel by case type, which shows the record count, so how many intakes belong to each case type, how many retainers have been sent on those cases by case type, how many have converted, and what is my conversion rate. Now, I'm looking for my superstars on this call. What do you see in this table that makes you have a question? Because there's something here that I think should throw a flag for someone. And I'm wondering if anyone can spot it. There are there are three. Anybody? I hear someone unmuted themselves. Go ahead. No? All right, so here are the first three questions as an analyst that I have when I look at this report. First of all, I have 52 cases without a case type.
Harker, we have a few people typed in questions, actually.
Oh.
I can read those for you.
Yeah, I can't see them.
Ben Kim suggested low conversion for auto could be one of the issues on the board.
Sure, it depends on the firm, absolutely.
And as well as Moretta, I think she suggested the same thing.
Okay. Anybody else?
And Josh said, why is retainer sense 0 for so many categories?
And that's there you are, Josh. I thought you were going to be on this call. So Josh hit one of the nails on the head here. I see 3 places where I have questions. We're going to start over here on the left. Why do 52 of my cases not have case types assigned to them? We're converting some of them, but we don't know what case type they are. Are we not requiring the case type during our questionnaire? What's going on with that? So that would be a place that if I were evaluating how my intakes were doing, maybe we can bump that conversion rate up if we make sure we're asking people the right set of questions on the questionnaire. Next up, Josh is close to one of the ones that I identified, which is how can I have converted 22 cases when I only sent 3 retainers? Often when we see data that looks that way, we see intake reps who are skipping that retainer agreement sent or not using something like DocuSign that automatically updates when you send that retainer. You can turn auditing on for the intake status field so that you can see when those changes happen. But accuracy of how many retainer agreements you're sending out will help you nail down your conversion rates and identify problems. So that's another. And then I also see some conversion rates where, you know, why am I getting 0%? Why is this one so low? And so those might be reasons to dig into those particular case types. Maybe take a look at the questionnaires. Are people finishing those questionnaires? Where's the drop-off point? So moving on, we're going to talk about the full calendar month. So intakes this month, we can see a total of 42. So you can see a similar theme in these 4 panels. And then we can also see our spread of intakes created this month by status. We do see those turn down rates, that ratio drops off. So we can see that yesterday might have been a high turn down rate, but to the month overall, we're doing pretty well. Up next, we have our funnel by source. This is for 90 days. And we can see similar gaps here where I see that source is maybe not a required field at intake. Maybe that's something that we want to look at. We can also see that even without a source assigned, we're converting at a rate of about 14% for those intakes. I might want to look and see what they have in common. And again, we can drill down into any single one of these components by clicking on the View Report. As we scroll down, we can see more high-level data, so conversion percentage of total leads. So we can see our percent convert and our sum of converted broken down by month. That information is hoverable in case you want the hard figures if you're on a call or in a meeting. And then we see our conversion percentage of retainers sent. And that's why I mentioned retainers sending as a status earlier, because if I don't know how many retainers I've sent, I don't necessarily know how many I have to chase, do I? So then we have dial counts. Dial counts are linked to your total calls field on your intake record. Total calls can be populated in two ways. If you have a CTI integration like 8x8, ShoreTel, MyTel, there are a few others that are leaders in the industry. When you pick up or dial a call, it will log a number to that total calls in an increment of 1. If you are not using a CTI integration, you can log calls using the activity log on the right-hand side of your screen on an intake, the same place where you would put an email or add a task. We recommend that for metrics purposes, everybody log every call that they make. And the reason for that is, how hard is your intakes team working? Where is your drop-off point? Can you substantiate claims that clients are unresponsive in a turn down? So logging every call is absolutely essential for your intakes team if they want to be able to show that the work that they've done has mattered and made a difference at your firm. And finally, we have turn downs this month by reason. And we can see, again, we see that little gap where perhaps turn down reason, there's some functionality where when you click turn down, you can hard require that turn down reason. So other is another example. There's an additional field in Litify called turn down reason details that allows you to give some additional data. So we can see that some clients are coming in our door just a little bit too late. Their statute of limitations is expired. We see some are unresponsive. So we might want to be asking our lead vendors, you know, is the quality of the phone numbers that you're providing us correct? I might dig into those 3 intakes and see how many calls were made on those intakes before someone concluded that the client was unresponsive. And 2 people were already represented. So that sort of reviews the content of the features that we've developed. But I wanted to sort of end with, we want you guys to be able to understand why cases aren't being signed. If a case is qualified, it needs to get signed. That's the baseline of your business. And so we wanted to ensure also that this dashboard is editable. You can leverage these reports in any way that you want. And we are going to be providing documentation on our success community with how to leverage this dashboard and address data quality. That's sort of the bulk of the content that I had for you guys today. And I wanted to sort of open the floor for questions, comments. If you guys would want to see an additional report that would fill out the picture, please share that with us here. We're always looking for new ideas. So I'd love to open up the floor for folks to give feedback and ask questions now, if that's all right.
Feel free to unmute yourself or type in questions now. Installing this package includes this entire dashboard and all reports pre-built as well. So very little implementation required for this package.
Yep. Takes about 5 minutes, and it's only 1 click.
Mark Block says, how do we get the package?
Oh, that's a great question. So it is in our success community. That's right, Eric, right? That's where we're storing it. The link is in the success community?
Yes, intakes optimization guide. And that link was also in the email for this webinar. And
Yep.
I will send out that link to everybody afterward.
And there's also some wonderful documentation that goes alongside it. It includes some of the content and suggestions that I just covered.
If you want to maybe share that article on the screen right now, let me try to find that. Other questions? Some folks are wondering about future features around optimization dashboards.
We've got a lot of ideas on the evangelist team, and we're really excited about them. I know things that we've talked about in brainstorming sessions include matter plan based pipeline by case type. How close to settlement are all of my workers' compensation cases that are open still? What else did we've talked about? We've talked about communication based dashboards. So what mediums of contact are most successful with our clients? We've talked about
Marketing spend. We're working on a marketing spend package right now.
that's a big one. So that you guys can do some more accurate ROI reporting. So those are just a couple of the ideas. We talk about this stuff all of the time. So it's just a question of grouping that content together in a way that the dashboard would make sense. So if you have suggestions for content that you'd like to see in the future, the email address for our group is, I believe, cegroup@litify.com. And you can always reach out to us there with suggestions, ideas for the kinds of content that you'd like to see in a feature package like this one.
Absolutely. Any
Also,
other?
if you have
Sorry.
content, if you have reports that kick butt, we would love to see them.
Absolutely. Other questions?
All right.
I'm not seeing great job, guys. I'm seeing some feedback. No more questions are coming in, so
Okay, great. Well, thank you everybody so much for joining us. We're going to be delivering more content like this to you and at a pretty regular cadence, we're hoping. So we'll look forward to seeing you on future webinars, and thanks again.